So we're starting a new build. This is going to be a 3.6 kilowatt hour battery bank rated. It's going to have a 3000 watt inverter charger with automatic transfer switch, and it's also going to have 2 solar panels and its own charge controller and a critical loads panel, and it's going to be for a tiny home. So it's nice little, like tiny little battery. And yeah, I'll just go through the process. I've got most of the parts. The inverter's on its way. I'm just going to be using a Make Sky Blue controller. Probably I'll use the 40 amp for this, and I'll use the 30 amp for that. So yeah, pretty much everything. I got almost everything except for the inverter charger. But like I said, it's on the way. And let's take you through the process. Thanks, guys. So, first things I do is I take this off. This was on here. I believe it's just a temperature sensor that catches all the cells. So if any of the cells get hot across there, it'll show. And then the next thing I do is take off this one. It's another temperature sensor. And then we're gonna take off the tape on this, and we're gonna expose every single one of these balance wires. And I think on this one I'm gonna try and just drill some holes in the battery pack there, and or in the cover. That's the cover for the top here. And we're going to put the balance wires through the holes instead of folding them on top like I did the other one. This one will be able to see the pack because it doesn't have a metal case around this one. Tried to save them some money, and really the metal box is pretty close to $1,000, so if we can save a bit. Not to mention they want to expand eventually, so if I build a metal box, then it's gonna be what it is, or we have to build a new metal box, and I'm trying to avoid that. So I've got brackets made that are just angle brackets, and they will attach onto the threaded rods on the 4 holes that the threaded rods go through. So right now I'm ready to take off this orange tape, and I'm gonna pop these things open. It's just little doors on there that they all come off nice and easy. And you just open them. It exposes the wires. Pretty much we'll need to do all of them. So just kind of get them all ready. And what I'm gonna do is I'll go through and tape and number each wire. So after I cut the plug off, I will tape it. Tape each single wire. So you have to use your multimeter. You see this is cell 1. Can't remember if it's the negative or the positive. I believe that's the positive. They're both reds on there, so it's not color coded. So use your multimeter and double check, but whatever. For now, I just need to get them exposed. So tape has to come off. All these little doors have to come off. They're open. And then, yeah, I'll figure out the best placement for them through that lid. Anyways, thanks guys. So now that everything is exposed, now I've marked them too. So this is my negative post. This is my positive post. And BMSs usually start from negative, so I'll follow this wire here up to the post. It's this corner one here. So I'll cut that, do one at a time, and then I'll tape it and I'll mark it negative. And then this will be number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's how many wires are in a 12S system. So I'll just put 13 pieces of tape on and label them 1 to 13. So, and I'll have to do this same procedure for all 3 packs. And once I get all the plugs cut off and the wires done right and marked with tape, I will figure out where I want to put it on through there, and I'll probably drill them accordingly. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, the holes, and it'll just come up through the pack. I think I'm gonna put the covers back on. Just keeps the dust out and keeps everything cleaner. Makes it so people can't put their fingers on the terminals. Yeah, let's go from there. Thanks, guys. So this is how I leave it. So we got the main negative, cell number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, cell positive. So very straightforward. And yeah, so I think I'm going to measure over, and I'll get a measurement and I'll do each hole like right where these pop up. Same with over here. So 13 holes need to go in that cover. Pretty straightforward. So anyways, thanks guys. I just drilled my own holes in there. That's where all the wiring's gonna go through for the balance wires. Should be pretty straightforward. And I'll do this to those ones as well. And I may even go up one side with this side and up the other side with this side of wires. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I know this way will make this cover sit much better on the pack. So I also may put some clear plastic tape on the edge so it all stays in nice. Anyways, thanks guys. I'm pretty happy with that. How that is fitting. Much better than the last one. I am still gonna put some tape across each edge, just some clear tape. Make it look better. And yeah. So 2 more packs to do the same thing. And then we can get it on the threaded rod. And yeah, then we can parallel them. Hook up the BMS leads. And I gotta make a main parallel connector wire that holds 3. Because I don't like doing a double. I don't want 2 lugs on that one terminal, even though some of them will get it for hooking up the inverter and the power cables. But for now, this is pretty good for where I want it. Guys, thanks guys. So we're on day 2 of this build. I've got 2 of them done yesterday. I only had about an hour working on this yesterday, and I cut the threaded rod, got these 2 packs completed how I want them. And today I'm gonna do this, get this wired up looking like those packs. I'm going to lay them all on the side. I'm gonna put the threaded rod in, and I'm gonna start connecting the BMS and the packs to the BMS wires, to the plugs, whatever. I have the BMS that I'm going to use on this build here. It's a 300 amp smart BMS with the screen. So these and temperature sensors, I'm going to do the sensors and everything on this pack. So yeah, I'm going to get, I think there's 4 or 3 sensors. Maybe there's only 3. But we're going to get the sensors, one on the pack and one outside of the pack. So we'll get a temperature of the pack and a temperature of the outside air. And yeah, you know, I sell these for about 300, 350 a kilowatt hour. On the on season, off season, I sell them for about 250 a kilowatt hour because it's just a slower time for me. And you know, I get a lot of people saying, well, I can go buy 18650s from Jehu from the States for cheaper than what I'm selling these for. And that is true until you factor in shipping to the Canada duties. You got to get all the holders. You need nickel strips. You need spot welder. Pretty much the works and the wiring. Where this is very straightforward, you know, it's going to take me about an 8-hour day to build this whole battery. And I could have it running in that 8 hours. Like, it's a huge, huge difference in time. Where if you're going to spot weld 18650s and you want a reasonable size bank, you're going to be probably about a month doing this stuff. Not to mention all the extra parts you need to get it all together, like the plastic holders. You know, you got to get them from a different spot, and you're probably looking at $300-400 just for that, plus shipping, duties, all that stuff. Where these, you can actually pick these up from me in person, and you know, you spend maybe an hour, 2 hours of driving, and maybe $10-15 in gas, and you know, a couple days you got these batteries on your wall working. So there's no comparison whatsoever in my prices compared to these other prices, especially if you're local. So there's, yeah, I don't like explaining that to people, but I think people should understand that there's a huge expense in shipping. It almost adds another third of the price onto the battery just for shipping. And then the spot welder, it's, you know, $100 plus shipping. That's for a cheap one. So much involved. The nickel strips, that's probably another $100, and then you got to put them all into the packs, and you got to do everything properly to get these to get the 18650s to run properly. Not to mention they're a bit more dangerous than this style of cell. It has these aluminum cells. So each cell is a 28 amp hour cell, which makes this a 28 amp hour 48 volt pack. Just, you could hook right onto it. This is rated to discharge at 200 amps, like at the max. So this one pack could run a 12 kilowatt inverter, you know. So, and then you just, every time you stack one on top of each other, now 3 can discharge a max of 600 amps. So I don't think you're doing 600 amps in your house system anyways. So that'd be pretty ridiculous. This setup here is going to be on a 3000 watt inverter. So these 3 packs with the 600 amp capability will be discharging 100 amps max. So huge difference. I don't know. Some people just don't have common sense, and they think I'm giving them a bad deal. But really, this is the best deal that you can get for a 48 volt pack in Canada. So with very minimal work. Anyways, thanks guys. I'm almost done this 3rd pack, and it is 10:30 a.m. So thanks. This is how I'm doing the market for the lid for the wires to poke through. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are about 2 inches apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires, and then the opposite side matches up with the corresponding wires for that side. And then I'll just go put holes in there. It's just plastic, so very easy to drill and clean. And then, yeah, I poke all the wires through. Then I'm ready to put my threaded rod in. And I'll show you how we do that. Thanks. So this is how I'm doing this one. Upside down. I probably need to space it a little bit bigger. And we do have quite a bit of extra room on the other side, so I may have to move them all a certain way. We'll see. But they're pretty good at the moment. I do need to make this gap a little bit bigger. I'd like it at least an inch in there. But it's pretty straightforward moving them. Yeah, and it's just nuts and washers holding them apart. Pretty straightforward. And then this whole thing will get flipped over because that's actually at the bottom. So anyways, pretty straightforward, guys. Like, this has got to be the easiest builds for packs that I found. So anyways, thanks, guys. So this is my least favorite BMS. It's, you gotta split the plugs. So it's a 20S, but you gotta do 7 from this side and 7 from this side. So you go from positive back, or from negative forward and then positive backwards. And then these last two, one on this one and one on this one, become tied together and connected as one cell. It's kind of weird. I also wonder if that's going to have double the balance current on that one cell, because it's going through 2 sets of resistors. But yeah, it is what it is. Thanks. So, a good way to take these things out, don't cut them. Take the actual plug out. Like, the end of this has a little tiny plug on it. See that? See that little plug? You gotta push in the top to get it out of this connection here. It's best not to cut them. I just use a nail, or a screw, sorry, and poke it in, because it's really sharp. So anyways, you guys do what you want. So this is connection number 1 with all the negatives. So it goes into the black lead, and 2 wires are coming down this way, and then 1 is coming from the bottom. And I connected the black to the bottom, so they're double. And then I put the shrink tube around. I also soldered the connection so it cannot get undone easily. And I'm gonna do, so we'll do cell 1 is on this side, cell 2 is on that side, or wire 1, whatever, you know what I mean? So every other one is on this side, so it's all the odd side, and that's the even side. Pretty straightforward, just gotta remember what you're doing. All the 3s are going to get connected together. All the 5s will get connected together, and so on. And then there's only 6 wires on this side, so you need 13 wires total. And this last one on here, and the continuation of this one on this plug get tied together, so that will actually have 5 connections on it instead of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, pretty straightforward, but anyways, thanks. Oh, got these wired up. This is my negative side. my positive side. Oh, excuse me. This will be the back side of the, what you can see, or you can't see this side. And this will be the front. This will be the front side here. So there will be a couple wires visible. I'll just kind of tuck them downish a bit here. Be alright. There will be a cover over it so you can't touch the wires, but they will be visible. So everything's now paralleled. I do gotta do the mains, so you need 1, 2, 3, and on the negative side the same, but this side will get the BMS, so I'm just gonna hook onto there, and then the positive will get terminated here, so then it'll kind of be pulling diagonal through the packs. Sorry. And yeah, BMS went somewhere right here, so may have to cut those to extend them, because I do want this to be somewhere under here like that, and then this will get attached up there, so I'll probably end up cutting that and then extending that. Probably just do a 4 gauge wire to that, cut off that lug, put a 4 gauge extension on there, and I can center this a bit better, and the total power will come on this side here. I'll just put a trough or tray or whatever, wire tray. Got that ordered with solar wire. So yeah, next I gotta do the paralleling. I'm only gonna use 4 gauge or number 4 wire, which is rated for at least 100 amps. It's only getting a 3000 watt inverter on there, so should be more than enough. And yeah, pretty straightforward. I gotta do the thermostat still, or the temperature sensors, and yeah, I gotta make the plate for the top. And I got some nice aluminum angle, so the plate that comes off the top with the brackets, so I'm gonna make a plate that sticks out about 2 inches, an inch and a half or so, and that will get a piece of aluminum angle put on it and then riveted to the top plate, and then the big brackets will also fit on top of there. So I'll probably put my positive, on, because it'll be at the top, my wire with the lug. Yeah, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Anyways, I think it's gonna look nice. The lids fit much better on this pack, so anyways guys, this is the wire I'm using here. It is 4 gauge. It actually does have a, it's you can see that. Let's see if she'll focus. Number 4 Flexiprene welding cable, 600 volt, negative 50 to plus 105 C. So this is the wire I'm using. It just comes from Princess Auto, super cheap company. But the best way to cut this is with a grinder and a cutting disc on there. It just makes such a perfect cut, and it holds it all in because of the rubber insulation. This is very flexible wire as well. It's nice, and you see their ratings. Number 4, 150 amps for 25 feet. I'm using about, whatever, 5-10 feet maybe max. 5 feet we'll say. Anyways, thanks. So you can see how nice the cuts are. The grinder. It's all good. They're all perfectly to length. Exact. So 2 for this side. Actually, they'll go this way. Big end. So like that. And then this one, the middle one's gonna have to be double. So it's gonna be joined like that first. So really, until I can find, I do have lugs, but I also want it to fit. I want these doors to close nice because they click. I like that. And it gives you very little room in there when it's actually closed. But I do want them to close. I'm trying to keep it nice and tidy because it will be visible while the front and actually everything will be visible. Got a couple ideas for what I want to do with the BMS screen. I'm going to put the BMS screen in the glass. Maybe at the bottom. That makes more sense at the bottom. And I don't know. I got to figure it out. I'm going to bring you guys along for the build too. So we'll figure out where to put everything. I already started collecting. I got the critical loads panel. I got all the breakers covered. I'll show you the clip of my breakers. And what else? I have BMS. I've got the inverter coming. I'm just waiting for it. I just got ordered, I guess, a couple of days ago. So it'll probably be a couple weeks for that, I would imagine. And what else? Yeah, charge controller. I'm gonna put that 40 amp controller on there, on this system. They don't need the Wi-Fi and 30 amps. They're only getting 2 solar panels right now, so it's only gonna be close to 500 watts, but 450. But yeah, we'll see. See how much power is actually being used. It's like a fridge and a couple lights. And when it's nice out and they got extra power, they can run the heat, the electric heat. It's for a tiny home, so it's, yeah, it's very easy and efficient to heat. So I'm sure a 1500 watt heater with a fan on it doesn't run very long in there. Like, I'm actually running my house with a 1500 watt heater right now. I also got the wood stove going, but just because I don't heat down here. So it's pouring right outside. We're at 120.9 volts on the battery. We're still pulling in almost about 2 amps there. And we're only using 3.3 watts. Minus an amp for this is probably 100 watts. So, whatever. I'll figure it out. So, anyways, that's just a little review on this Weller. It's brand new out of the box. It's nice. It's got 3 lights on it, so there's no shadows. What is it? 25 watt. Up to 750 Fahrenheit. It works well. No solder, no problem. Does a good job. Anyway, back to this. Thanks. So, seems that the number 2 takes 2 number 4s, no problem. It's on there good. It's number 2 with a 5/16 hole. See if it'll focus. Probably won't. Too much stuff behind it. Too much stuff behind it. Either way, it is what it is. There it is here. Number 2 with 5/16 stud hole. $6 for 2, 3. Cool. I only need 2. And then a number 4 and a number 4. I was almost thinking that I should put. Yeah, I don't know how much to put on though. That's the only thing. I don't want to be left over with shitty pieces of wire. You know, I could make the 4th wire right into this and have that go right to the breaker box and just keep them bare for now, or taped up. So put these 2 on plus one for the actual wire. Should think about it. So I do got a lot of room. But these for the BMS, then I'll have to leave the sensors. Anyways, I'll figure it out. Thanks. There's cable number 1. I'll go the same way. Just like that. Pretty straightforward. I will have to put another connection on one of them points. It's gonna be a bit of a pain, but whatever. It'll only be a couple bolts to take the lid off, kind of thing. Anyways, one more to make. Thanks. This is where I'm gonna leave off today. So I did get these guys on. I had to break some of the plastic on that middle one. Kind of a shame, but it's the only way she'll fit. And this side is easier because the tabs come out the side, so I put them out the side. It is meant for metal bus bars, not wires, so. Either way, I can put a wire trough on this side here. So I'm not sure if the battery is going to be below everything or up higher. I'm still figuring that out. There's some room below and some above. I'm more worried about the cold temperatures than the warm temperatures. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. We'll see. Anyways, thanks guys. Stupid BMSs. So I got this thing here. It's a 20S 300 amp. I'm looking on the picture for this and it's showing me the plugs and how to split it up, but I end up counting the wires on the picture of the explanation underneath this BMS picture, and it's only got 17 wires. So I'm like, what the fuck? So now I've hooked this up wrong. This plug is fine, so I don't need to undo this, but this one, I made a mistake where this red and this, well, so all of these need to get moved over one spot. So this one, except for the red, and then I need to add another line in like this and put that plug in there, and then this plug has to get connected to this red wire. freaking stupid. At least it's pretty easy moving these pins, but I hate moving the pins when you're don't have to, because it's not a perfect connection after you take them out and put them back in. It always gives some kind of little issue or problem. But there's only supposed to be 2 open spots on this plug here, and there's 3, so all these have to get moved over. And my fingers are getting orange. That's alright. So I gotta get to this red wire here, which is already pretty small. Maybe I'll find a spot. Maybe I'll just even cut this wire here and attach it and then reattach it. It's freaking annoying. Anyways. Fucking annoying. We'll see. Maybe I can put it this way. I should have enough room. Like that plug will go pretty far. As will that one. So that will go that way. And this one will go this way. And this one has to go to the negative side, so. And then this becomes my new full negative. I can't believe that happened so far into. Anyways, the joys of battery making. Glad I caught it before I hooked it up, or it would have only been reading 11 cells instead of 12. Thanks. Got that worked out. We got our 7 wires on this plug, and we got the remainder on this plug. There's extra, there's like 14 because the black isn't counted as 1, where it's your main negative, so it is actually 1. And then you got 6 balance connections. This one's actually starting at your first series connection. So this is your main negative, your first series connection, your second series, and so on. And then connection number 6 is actually the 7th wire, and that gets tied to, so 6 is actually this wire and this wire connected together to 1 cell, and then the rest continues. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is those 2. So it's actually 14 wires. It's just ridiculous, but whatever. Because this red lead here was a little bit short, because this thing here was kind of pulling off too much wire, so I had to snip it a couple times. And then this was the original red wire, this wire here, so I just cut that back a bit, moved all these over from here over 1 position and plugged them back in, and then I added this one and tied these 2 together, and then these 2 get connected to this red. What annoying. Whatever, they're all proper now as to what the picture states. And yeah, I could check it with a multimeter, where you just check the plugs. Would be put your negative on this black wire, and then you can go down the line touching each little connection there, and then it will continue on down here as well. So anyways, we're now completed on this part.